no matter where your journey's starting from. There is a voice calling you.
True story. When Harriet Tubman first escaped from slavery, she heard a voice that said, "I want you to help free others." Do you know what Harriet Tubman said to that voice? She said, "No." She said, "Not me." She said, "I can't. I can't." But the voice wouldn't let up. It wouldn't let her be. "I want you to help free others. I want you to help free others." Finally, Harriet Tubman, the woman who would be known as Moses, said yes. Yes. Walk by faith, not by sight. Moses walked in the middle of the night. Step by step, she followed a voice. She couldn't shut it off. She didn't have a choice. It told her when to move. It told her when to wait. She was walking in its footsteps. She was walking in its grace. It wasn't just her people Moses led through the night. It was anyone who's ever walked by faith and not by sight.
You've gotta walk by faith, not by sight. Listen every step of the way. Walk on into the night. Let that northern star be your guiding light.
True story. Harriet Tubman, with the help of the Union Army, once freed 750 slaves in one day. Can you imagine? 750 people. She liberated an entire plantation. The voice of Spirit doesn't mess around. When you listen to that voice, you are never the same. When you listen to that voice, you are free. And it doesn't stop there. You take others with you. The 750 are still alive today. They're your sisters and your brothers in struggle and in pain. They're your doubts and your fears when you say, "I can't," but you can, and you will. When you walk by faith, not by sight. Moses walked in the middle of the night, step by step. She followed a voice. She couldn't shut it off. She didn't have a choice. It told her when to move. It told her when to wait. She was walking in its footsteps. She was walking in its grace. It wasn't just her people Moses led through the night. It was anyone who's ever walked by faith and not by sight.
You've gotta walk by faith, not by sight. Listen every step of the way. Walk on into the night. Let that northern star be your guiding light. No matter where your journey is starting from, there is a voice calling you, yeah, taking you home. You've gotta
Walk by faith, not by sight. Moses walked in the middle of the night, step by step. She followed a voice. She couldn't shut it off. She didn't have a choice. It told her when to move. It told her when to wait. She was walking in its footsteps. She was walking in its grace. It wasn't just the people Moses led through the night. It was anyone who's ever walked by faith and not by sight.
walk on into the night. Let that northern star be your guide.
Jesus led through the night. It was anyone who's ever walked by faith and not by sight. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll tell you, I got a problem. The real hard days were when Center for Spiritual Living had 3 services on a Sunday. And just from the point of view of a speaker, like the first service was rehearsal. It was like practice. The second service was it was good. That was when things came together. The third service, my talk was always half as long as it had been the other times, because I think, oh, I said that already. So it used to be that when there's 2 services, the first would be practice, and the second would kind of pull the pieces that didn't work together, and it's changed for me, and it's terrible. Because what's been happening is the first service went really well. So we've worked it out. I'm actually going to lip sync to the talk. It used to be that when rabbis were interviewing for congregations, they would go out and give a sermon and have congregations compare. And it happened that 2 rabbis were going to the same place, and one was going to speak on a Friday night, and the next one was going to speak Saturday morning. And then on Sunday, the board of the congregation was going to meet to see if they wanted to employ either of those graduating rabbis. And it happened that the 2 candidates were staying in a motel in rooms next to each other. And the one who was giving the sermon Saturday morning was practicing his sermon. The one who was doing it Friday night is hearing this sermon, and it is so much better than the sermon that he's going to do. He wrote it down, and he gets up on Friday night, and he gives the sermon, but the guy's on Saturday. Now, the guy on Saturday thinks, like, what's he going to do? So he decides, counterintuitively, he's still going to give his sermon. I mean, he knows he's lost, but he gives his sermon. Come Sunday, the board is meeting. The board finally comes out. They say, we've made a decision. We're hiring the rabbi who spoke on Saturday. The rabbi is really surprised. Like, his sermon was given Friday night. And he says, well, how did you make that determination? And he said, well, the one who spoke Friday night was really brilliant, but the one who spoke Saturday showed us that he can really listen. We want a rabbi who could listen. That's it. So the problem with giving a talk the first time, then you get up the second time and you try to remember what you said, which is just disastrous. That's not going to help. And actually, this is the whole problem of this incarnation business. I'll tell you, each and every one of us has obviously done this. You know, we've left a realm of absolute connection, of absolute interconnection, of just an awareness of being with, being as, and we have entered into separateness. I mean, whatever you think about our togetherness and our connectedness, we like, these are mine. And we got a problem with this incarnation business. I mean, all you got to do is see what's happening in the world. And you know, hey, wait a minute. Somebody's got this a little wrong. You're like, what's the problem? And the problem is we keep trying to do the sermon that we gave the first session. The problem is we're not living in the moment. The problem is we're living in the mind. We're living in the mind of expectations. We're living in the mind of patterns. We're living in the mind of conditioning. You ever just sit and listen to your mind? If we had a friend who would talk to us the way our mind talks to us, we'd never talk to them. And our mind is a magnificent faculty. I mean, we could not get along without our mind. Our mind is the mechanism within each of one of us that ensures our individual biological survival. And the fact that we're here means we've been successful. Our minds have worked. How do our minds work? Our minds help us navigate the material world. And our minds keep us safe. How do we know our minds keep us safe? Well, listen to your mind. Your mind is telling you all the things that could go wrong. Our minds automatically practice our problems. I don't have to do anything. Rarely do our minds automatically practice our solutions. And there's a reason for that, because the mind has the challenge to keep us safe. So how do we keep ourselves safe? We look out for the things that can go wrong we could avoid. But all of us want our minds to do something that the mind can't do. It's really fascinating. I mean, it's almost like wanting our bodies to do stuff that the body can't do, but the mind, we think, oh, the mind can do it. The mind can bring us happiness. Yeah, intermittently. The mind can bring us love. Well, yeah, sometimes. Mind can bring us success. Yeah, sometimes. Why sometimes? Because the mind functions with contrast. That's the nature of mind. In mind, we only know by contrast. I only know up because I know down. I only know easy because I know difficult. I only know sweet because I know sour. If everything went fine in our lives, we'd never know it. We only know it because we know not fine. We only know easy because we know challenging and hard and difficult. But we like our minds to just, it's like our bodies. We'd like our bodies only to inhale. Remember Bill Clinton? No, you said he never inhaled? I heard him say that. I thought, I never exhaled. So with our incarnation, we are presented with a magnificent mechanism called the mind, and we tend not to appreciate it. We don't appreciate it because we tend to want it to do what it can't do. And then we get frustrated and we think, well, I've got to control my mind. That's an interesting thing to do. I'd like my mind only to think good thoughts. Mind functions to keep us from the immediacy of the moment. It's really kind of peculiar because we think we're in the moment. We think we're here, but most of the time we're working off our expectations. We're working off our past conditioning. We are utilizing the mind to maintain an ego identity. Most of the time, my mind is working on keeping Ted. And my mind's been doing it for a long time. I'm good at it. You're good at whatever your mind has been. The fact is, there is a consistency you probably have experienced. I certainly experience a consistency about Tedness, but it's all made up. And it's made up by not being present. You know, Heraclitus was a Greek philosopher who said you can't step into the same river twice. And as far as I can tell, you can't step into the same river once, because it's never the same river. It's just a mental mind notion that the river is the same. It's not the same. Try sticking your foot in the same river, and as soon as you touch your toe to the water, it's a different. The foot of the ball of the foot goes in, and it's a different river. The heel touches, and it's a different river. It's flowing, it's moving. And that's how it is all the time. All the time. Things are moving, and the only thing that keeps them stuck is the activity of our mind. Why? Because we keep it stuck in a way that we can understand and we can manipulate and we can be safe to the degree we are able to be safe. You know how it is when we meet each other, and at the beginning you're trying to associate the name with the face. And it takes a while, and then all of a sudden you know something happens. You know, that's. And then we know. And the fact is, at that moment we stop seeing the person. And instead we're projecting out an image we have, and we've associated with the name. And if you ever want to prove this, it's actually pretty easy, and that is, you sit with a person that maybe you live with or you've been with for a long time, and you take 4 minutes to just look at their face. Not stare, not do a meditation, just look at their face. Just keep looking at their face, and you'll be surprised, because it's not the face you thought. We change all the time. Nothing stays the same. It's just the mind that keeps things the same, that keeps us out of the river of life. And there's a consequence of that, and the consequence of that is what we got going on in our world. You know, where people are so stuck in their expectations and their needs and their beliefs, our expectations, our needs, and our beliefs, that we can't see the river. We can't get that things are changing, that needs are different, that, we're doing terrible things because we got caught up in this incarnation business, and we forgot. And we forgot something that's really critical. So every religious tradition that has any value, every spiritual tradition, every spiritual practice has ways to support our remembering, because it's the nature of incarnation that we forget. Can't help it. You want to not forget? Don't incarnate. Really. You don't want to die? You don't want to die? Don't get born. If you get born, you're going to die. If you die, you're going to get born. Sorry, that's how it works. So in my tradition, the holiday cycle, and it keeps impressing me that there is a kind of kernel of spiritual wisdom that has been with humankind for millennia. And for millennia, we've been forgetting. I mean, if we think this job is easy, you know, it's not easy. Getting out of the mind, losing our minds, is difficult. It's really challenging to get out of our expectations and to get out of our holding on and get out of our stopping the river so that we can appreciate the possibilities of each moment, so that we can get out of thinking that our mind can do something it was not created, it was not made to do. So in Jewish tradition, the holidays that help us remember, the holidays that help me remember, start with New Year's, Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah starts next Sunday evening. Rosh means head. Shana means year. Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, the beginning of the year. Rosh also stands for what's in the head? Consciousness. You know, the filter of a stream of consciousness that's way bigger than any of us. And some of that consciousness is held in the mind, but just some of it. Shana, it means year, but it also means change. It's the beginning of the change. And the image is really radical. The image is, it's time to let go of the year. It's time to let go of last year and step into a river, a new river. Can you even imagine what that would be like? If I said, everything that happened up till now is like a dream. And now we're stepping into the river. We're stepping into the moment. You got failures, you got successes, you got things you're proud of, you got things you're not proud of. There's no energy there anymore. Yeah, you got a history, but you're not connected to it. It's not ruling you. I let go of all the strings, which is to say, I let go of the guilt and the anger and the resentment, and I step into and go, here, now. Oh, what a possibility. What a possibility. And you could just hear the mind go, no, because I haven't figured that one out yet. I figured out the old one. And I keep taking it with me into each year. It's like looking at your New Year's resolutions and asking yourself, how many years have you been making the same resolution? And what does this tell us? I keep myself in this space. Yeah, this is. So my favorite story is the story of a year, and I'm going to talk about God as if God is a person, and this is a story. But Rosh Hashanah happens, New Year's happens, and something goes wrong with the universe. It's almost as if the universe is constipated. The time is not flowing as it needs to flow, and there's a disjointedness about all of creation, and the heavenly hosts are witnessing this, and they don't know what's going on. And God turns to God turns to Michael, who is the angel at his right, and says, listen, go down there and see what's going on. And Michael goes down, and he sees the old year. She's clinging to the year. She won't let go. The new year is waiting. There's nowhere for the new year to come in. The old year won't let go. Michael says to her, you got to let go. She said, I can't. Michael comes back up, says, God, I can't. The old year won't let go. God sends Gabriel, the angel at his left, go down, fix this. Same thing. The last year, just, I can't let go. There's no way I can let go. You got to let go. Everything's stopping. I can't let go. Gabriel comes back and says to God, I can't, you won't listen to me. God turns to Elijah. You know, Elijah, if anybody can take care of it, it's going to be Elijah. And Elijah goes down and sees the old year, and she's clinging to the year, and Elijah says, what's going on? And the old year says, I can't let go. And Elijah says, why not? And the old year says, I can't let go because I haven't done everything that I wanted to do. I haven't finished my dreams, my intentions for the year. And Elijah says, oh, poor year. Don't you know that if a year accomplishes everything that they had set out to do, if a year accomplishes all their dreams, they have not dreamed big enough. No, the fact that you haven't accomplished everything, that means you did so well. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. And you can just imagine the relief, And she goes, okay, I can let go. And the old year lets go, and Elijah motions to the new year and says, okay, come on. And the new year looks and says, no way. If that's what I have to look forward to at the end of the year, this does not sound appealing to me. And Elijah says, yeah, but that's how it is. That's how it is in every year, and that's how it is in every incarnation, and that's how it is in every lifetime. It's like, if we accomplish everything we intend, if we accomplish everything we dream, we have not intended big enough, and we have not dreamed big enough. So we come in and do the best we can. We come in and we remember the best we can. Now you probably guessed, since time is still working, that the new year did come in last year. Next Sunday night we'll find out whether that year will let go. If something strange starts happening Monday, you'll know why. But that's how it is in the land of the mind. Because the mind wants to understand. The mind wants to eke out some level of safety and consistency and predictability from this ever-changing reality. I used to think that there was something called an altered state of consciousness, which one went into through meditation or through hallucinogenics or through accidents, just all kinds of ways of moving into an altered state of consciousness. And it got to a point where I really understood that this is the altered state of consciousness. We're in the altered state of consciousness when I'm in the altered state of consciousness called TED. And when I allow myself to meet the immediacy of the moment, well, the TED of the past is no longer controlling it. The TED of the past is no longer defining it or being defined by it. It's new. It's now. It's Incarnation is so magnificent, but we get attached to the what of it rather than to the it of it. Sight. We look at things and we decide this is a good sight, this is a bad sight, this is pretty, this is ugly, rather than going, I can see. You want a miracle? It's almost inconceivable. We think we're seeing out there, but we're not actually. We're seeing in here. Wow. Just to be able to see, to awaken to the beauty of that. Not the what, not the limitation of it, not the controlling of it, but to the, whoa, no wonder I chose to incarnate. And the touch. Oh, to be able to touch, to be able to feel, to be able to hug. Oh, I need a body to do that. I need my separateness. I need to incarnate. Yes, you could just see, yes, you'll lose this absolute connectedness. You're going to have to deal with separateness. You're going to have to deal with having a mind that knows only through contrast. And still we go, yeah, but we get to see and we get to feel and we get to touch and we get to, oh, this is magnificent. But we forget the magnificence of it. We forget the universality of it by limiting it with the judgments of the mind. You know that each and every one of us has been commissioned by the highest authority to decide at any given moment with everything that comes into our field whether it's good or it's bad. And we are those our mind is that mechanism. It can't help it. No, I want everything to be good. Well, it ain't going to work that way. What's better than that? Oh. No, I want to get to a place where I give the mind something that the mind can't give itself. And that's absolute acceptance. That's unconditional love. Not because of what the mind is thinking at any given moment, but because the mind can think. I mean, this is really amazing. Just to awaken to the nature of the being we are inhabiting right now. So Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the year, offers us the opportunity to let go and to step into the river. To step into the flow of reality that is always moving. To let go. To let go of the grievances, to let go of the fears, to let go of the desires, just to let go. And to open to a moment, the immediacy of the moment. And then in my tradition, there are 10 days. They're called the 10 days of awe. Awe. That go from Rosh Hashanah, which is the first day, to Yom Kippur, the day of atonement. Yom Kippur. For me this year, Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the Jewish year. It's a 26-hour fast. So you don't have to worry about anything except being present. No distractions. Singing, chanting, talking, healing. And Yom Kippur is the day of attunement, the day of atonement, as in tone, as in moving beyond words and sharing tones. The day of at-one-ment, and the day of atonement. It's a day of forgiveness. And I don't know if you know this, but forgiveness is one of the most difficult things for the mind to ever do. Until we learn that forgiving others is actually letting ourselves off the hook, not letting them off the hook. So the question is, if Rosh Hashanah is stepping into the new year and letting go of the old, and Yom Kippur is atoning for the things we're not proud of and we're not happy of and the things we want to let go, how come they come in that order? Wouldn't Yom Kippur come first? We do forgiveness and then we start the new year? I mean, which in some ways makes much better sense to me. Unless I become aware that we give up. We intend to step into a new year, and then we wind up with all the stuff that just rushes into us. I'm free of that now. Woof. Nope. I don't think about that anymore. Woof. And that, the time, the 10 days, gives us the opportunity to witness what's still coming up, so we can get in tune with being human. Because we can't control the mind. So the mind is going to do that. And the question is, what are we going to do in response? The sacred prayer on the eve of Yom Kippur is called Kol Nidre, all our vows. And it's asking forgiveness not for the vows that we made last year, but for the vows we're going to break next year. There used to be arguments among the rabbis over the centuries about, wait, this is backwards. But it's not backwards, because it's starting out different. It's starting out and saying, in this incarnation, the nature of human being is we're going to make promises we're not going to be able to keep. We're going to make intentions that we're not going to make real. No way around it. I'm going to keep focusing on the positive. So to forgive ourselves for being human, wow, to forgive ourselves for incarnating, so that we don't get caught, because the only way around it is to allow the mind to do what it does, to allow the judgments to be as they are and not to get caught in it. So I'd like to offer you 4 affirmations to take with you. And I'd like to invite you to say them after me. I am exactly where I want to be.
I am exactly where I want to be.
That's kind of obvious, isn't it? I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing.
I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing.
I'm with exactly the people I want to be with. And I am exactly the one I want to be. Yeah. Thank you, folks.